Hey, welcome to JaxPunx, man. We're interviewing somebody very near and dear to my heart today, Scott Davis. He's been around since the very beginning of Jacksonville punk rock.
Woohoo!
Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, sir. West Side.
Yes. All right. So happy to finally get this interview with you. You're legendary from the West Side.
I'm a myth in my own mind.
Yes, definitely. And Rats on the West Side. Woohoo!
RTW.
Yes.
Proud member.
Exactly. So, why did you start listening to punk rock or hardcore?
I think it was probably about 80 or 81, and I grew up across the street from the infamous Chad Hester, which he was 3 years older than I was, and we were already listening to Kiss and Black Sabbath, AC/DC, bands like that, and I think he got maybe Dead Kennedys or albums such as that, and I guess kind of started me off listening to that. Sex Pistols, he was a huge fan of Sex Pistols, and I started going over there, smoking weed, doing one hits, drinking PBR, Old Mill Skrinsky, and listening to that in his bedroom with his parents there. So it was something else, let me tell you.
What was it about the music that, made that attractive to you?
Well, it was angry and pissed off against what our parents would like, so it was always rebellious. That was the whole meaning of it all. And the music, you feel like you could run through a brick wall, it wouldn't hurt you. And it went hand in hand with the skateboarding and surfing that I'd already started surfing in '80. And skateboarding, of course, my entire life with Jeff Mullis and Pat Mullis. And 'cause I grew up 2 houses down from them. And so it just went hand in hand with it. And going to Kona in the 70s, where I lost this tooth.
Oh, wow.
In 77.
What about Squirrely?
Squirrely didn't come until, his parents didn't move until maybe it was 78, 79, maybe 80. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
I really have to think about it. But him and his sister and his dad and mom were plastic surgeons, and they were from Minnesota. And
Yeah.
so we got them going down the wrong pathway.
Did anybody ever play tennis on those tennis courts?
All the time. Jeff Mullis's mother was a professional tennis player at Big Tree, and the Breens, Matt and Matt's parents, his mother was a very good tennis player. So we played all the time. They taught us, and we would have neighborhood little
Matches?
yeah, and then they had a tennis wall. You could play by yourself. And
Yeah.
it was a great time to try to keep us from the bad ways of hardcore punk and angry music. But we were still smoking cigarettes because me and Jeff and Pat started smoking weed. I guess when I'm 76, 77, my cousin got us smoking weed. Of course, Chad. And we started smoking and weed and cigarettes and listened to Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
And the Wedding album and the Big Bamboo album, which I still have the rolling paper.
Nice.
Because I said I was going to use it when I finally made it, but there's still hope. I'm only 25, so
Right.
I can still make it.
Exactly. Okay, so what was your first punk album that you bought or stole?
Let's see. It was probably store-bought. I don't really remember. It might have been Black Flag or Dead Kennedys. Might have been Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, maybe.
Okay, if you bought it, where'd you buy it?
maybe
Did you go out to
Cedar
Wags?
Hills Record Bar,
Okay.
maybe. But just trying to think. I already had a bunch of mixtapes. This is like 82. When I started going to Ed White, we were all into punk or new wave, and we started listening to Gang of Four and B-52s, Oingo Boingo, and bands like that. And so it was mostly just make a cassette here and there from your buddies when we got the dual cassette where you could steal music from them. And,
Yeah.
It was great. Everything was so great back then, all the music coming out, and now music is horrible, unfortunately.
Well, I think it's a little harder to find, maybe. All right, so what was the first punk band that you saw live?
I have no idea.
Well, can you remember, what can you remember, like a show that you remember from back in the day it was live?
Well, when I was with, let's see, we would go to, I can't remember the years, but we would go to the blighted area, and we would go to what the hell is it called? On the Armory.
Okay.
And on Wilson, and then we would go to Knights of Columbus and
Can you remember any of the bands that were playing there?
the Attitudes. They were more new wave. And
I have flyers like Three Blind Mice, The Substitutes,
okay.
Blaine Crew's band.
Yeah, Blaine Cruz and all of them, and then of course 730 Club. I know I'm just all over the map here, and I don't
That's
do
okay. It's
anything
okay.
chronological. But the 730 Club when I was in Mental Brains and / Brutal Assault, 'cause that was our first name, Mental Brains, and Billy came over to Ed White because he didn't want to go to Lee, and so he was in ROTC to come to Ed White. And it was me, Pat Mullis, and Jack Grego, and we would practice at my mom's house. And Chad would come over, and Billy McGill, and all the kids from school would come over, and we were horrible. And we just played 3 chords as fast as we possibly could, and Billy would just cuss a lot. And my mom would come out and go, "Billy, I know a bunch of cuss words, but I think you've taught me a few today." But going back to that second question, back later on, the 85, 86, 87, we would go to Wags all the time and buy punk rock albums. And he would play them for us, right? Open them up and play them for us.
Henry was
and
awesome.
It was an event. I remember me and Mike Fox and several people would go get a 12-pack and then go to Orange Park and drink the 12-pack on the way, and then spend 2 hours in there and not knowing some of these bands just by the covers. Like, I want to hear this, and we would buy them, and it was great. Henry was really killer to do that,
Yeah.
And I think I got my first store-bought Victim in Pain, Agnostic, and I know I got Dealing With It there, DRI.
Nice.
Some of my favorite bands of all time,
Yeah, totally. All right, let's see. Moving right along. What was the first punk band that you played in?
Okay, that was, I played in bands before, since 1980, but Mental Brains Brutal Assault was in 84. And then we opened up for Stark Raven Mad.
Ooh.
And we were kind of slower and heavy, but we saw Stark Raven Mad tuning up at the blighted area. And they were the fastest friggin' band I'd ever seen in my life. Most of their songs were less than a minute, between 30 seconds and 45 seconds. And we were like, what the hell? We need to reevaluate what we're playing. And so we went, this was earlier in the day, about 5 o'clock. So we went to Sarge's van. He was hanging out with us, and Norman Deshane and all of them, and Tim McIntyre. So we smoke a few bowls out in the Sarge's VW bus, and says, "Look, just play everything as fast as you friggin' can, because we're gonna get blown off the stage if not." And we already had their album, and New York hardcore band, and that right there set the tone, I think, for the rest of everybody. You know, and
so who was in the Mental Brains lineup?
It was me, Pat Mullis, Jack Grego, and Billy Hughes.
And then Brutal Assault was...
Yeah, and then Brutal Assault, and they kicked me out because I couldn't go to Atlanta. I had to go out of town. We had a death in the family, and so they go, okay. So Dallas took my spot.
Yeah.
And I think that was opened up for Agnostic Front at the Metroplex in Atlanta, if I can remember.
Yeah.
But I wrote most of the songs on the first cassette, and then after that I did...
Do you still have that cassette?
I do still have a cassette.
Oh my God, I need that.
And I still have a Brutal Assault sticker.
Awesome, we need that.
Yeah, so great times back then, and we played at the Armory and a couple times at the Blighted Area, and lots of times at 730 Club. And 730 Club was great. You know, we're all underage. We got to drink out there with the cops just sitting there. They just let us. I can't believe it, but they would. And go in there and saw some great bands. Raw Power. There was a band called Amazing Grace that I thought was really good. And who else? I can't remember who else we saw. But there was some great friggin' bands. And we shared the band room with Stiletto. And that was always fun, and had the mosh pits and the kegs and the fights and
yes, the fight.
Good times back then with Dallas and Dean and you know, Parnell.
Yeah.
So
shout out to all the people you can remember. This is a memory test at this point.
Okay. Buck Smith and Frank Bago would come. Curtis Leggett. The Temple Brothers.
Yeah.
That was always a good time. There was always lots of fights between him and Chad and the Temple Brothers, and lots of chicks to hang out with, Vera and
good times. Let's see. Why play punk rock? Like, you know, you're a talented musician.
When you first started playing, you weren't good enough to play real rock, so you had to. It got you through it because you could just play as fast as you can, and if you screwed up, nobody cared because it was more about anger than it was, you know, getting out your frustrations, which we really had no frustrations. We came from great families.
Well, then why were you so angry?
Because everybody else around us was angry in this way.
Because of testosterone. Oh my God. Talk about your first pair of combat boots.
My first pair of combat boots, I got them from my uncle. He was in the National Guard, and he had, you know, retired from that. And he didn't need them anymore, so I shined them up. And they were probably 2 sizes too big for me. And I had a bunch of Dr. Scholl's in them just so I could wear them, you know, and wore the hell out of them. They weighed about 5 pounds each, but...
So you couldn't go to, like, Hot Topic or... buy Doc Martens anywhere in town?
Not back then. I wouldn't be caught dead in those places. Hot Topics.
They weren't around back then.
No,
and you couldn't order from Amazon.
No, none of that. But yeah, we weren't very good musicians back then, but we, you know, the more you play, the more you practice, we got better, because none of us could read music. I still can't read music, and there's no need for it. I can hear stuff now.
So you play by ear.
Correct.
Can you list, and if you can't, you don't have to, if you can't do this, you can just give this to me in writing, but list the bands you played in and the members in the band. We kind of did a little bit of that. There's bands after that?
Yeah, there was bands after that, and that was really the only hardcore punk band that I played
Keep going. Tell me what you can, or
okay,
you can pass.
And then after that, I just for a couple years I just practiced, mostly surfed, and I went to California a lot, and just jammed with a bunch of people from Ed White in different places, and then started playing with Retribution in 1990, and that was some of the members from Leather Nun. Jimmy Evans, which was the drummer for Leather Nun, he was in Retribution. A guy named Mark Miller was a guitarist. Sean Abrams, who's been in multiple bands. He was a great guitarist. He's still a shredder. And then Danny Shaner from Atlanta was the singer. And we made a cassette and a CD, and I was with them till 96 or 97. And we went on a tour, went up to Alexandria, Virginia, and the Carolinas, and Georgia, and Orlando, and Tampa, and all that. And that was really good. That was more melodic heavy metal. We were kind of taking the same route as Iron Maiden, kind of Queensryche, because he was an operatic singer. And that's where I really started playing a lot better, because these guys were really great musicians, and I learned a lot from them, how to write music and not just put it out there quickly, actually think about what I'm playing. And after that, I played in Device. I'm sorry, let me go back, because Mark Miller left, and then we had John Gokenhauer from Leather Nun played with us for a short time, and then we had Larry Schroeder, who's a great musician, who has School of Music, Schroeder School of Music, and he was a much younger guy, but he was a friggin' shredder. And then we got Chris Flowers, and who does recording now, and so he played with us, and he was on the CD No Peace on Earth, Retribution. And so after that we broke up, and then I started playing in Device with Keith Garrett, Anthony Cook, and Chris Flowers. And so after that broke up, I started playing in Tempest Rain for 10 years, and that was Brent Smedley, Sean Johnson, Brian Udell, myself, and Wyatt Anderson. And we made one CD, and Wyatt quit in the middle of the CD, and Sean Johnson had to do the singing. And then we made another CD with Joe DeLuca on vocals, and that turned out great. And that was from 2002 to 2012. And then I played in multiple side projects, none really to name. I was in a southern rock band with a couple guys from work. Now I'm in Human with was Bill Wren from Prodigy, with the Smedley brothers, and with Doug Tibbs and John Guerin. And Bill Wren passed away 4 years ago of congenital heart failure. And now we're playing with David Lee Redding, and looking for another drummer. So that's my extent.
Cool, awesome. And so did you mention all of the albums along the way?
There was The Real World, Retribution. Oh, let me go back. You Lose with Brutal Assault. Then we have a cassette, and I wrote most of those songs, I think all of them except for one Pat Mullis wrote, and that was an homage to Chad Hester, called You're Gonna Die, Motherfucker. And Drunk Dreams, on the song we wrote about Jerry Lowe and pissing himself. And that was a cassette album called You Lose, the one I was on Brutal Assault. And then Retribution was The Real World and No Peace on Earth CD, when CDs first started coming out. And then Tempest Rain was Calm Before the Storm, and then No Peace on Earth. And then I did a video, we redid with Human, the Barracuda. We did a heavy metal version of the Heart Barracuda cover, and Bill killed it on that. And it's very sad that he passed, because he had a great friggin' operatic Jeff Tate, Bruce Dickinson voice,
Yeah.
So.
Well, at least you made a baby together.
Exactly.
And, and where can we go listen to that? Is that any of it published?
All that stuff, you can go to YouTube and just punch in, the last one, Barracuda, put in Human color version, Barracuda, and you can see that. And the other is Retribution, No Peace on Earth. You can find that on YouTube, and Retribution, The Real World, that's been copied on there. And I don't think you can find the Brutal Assault stuff. You may, but you can find some of the Brutal Assault stuff in Maximum Rock and Roll. We got like a 3-page write-up that I found years ago.
Okay, I would love you to share that with us.
Okay.
So, you know, everybody in this project, everybody's getting a web page, and these videos are going to be pushed up on YouTube, but the web page will be like where we can collect the flyers and the photos and the links to music and what, you know, links back to the band pages and stuff like that, and to the venues. So it'll be like our little thing. And you know, a lot of stuff is already collected on Facebook, but like we don't own Facebook, so this stuff's going to be on my server, and I'm going to try to figure out how to pass it on to the next generation if anybody cares, but for right now it's just me.
Yeah, and I do want to mention some of the bands we played with, the local ones that I can remember. Body Count with the Wesley and Wally Michaels, Blaine Cruz Band, the infamous Blaine Cruz Band. That was with Chris McFall was on bass, Stacy Grimm on guitar. I cannot remember his name in my life who was on drums. It might have been Neil Kerr. No, he was in Stiletto. And there was so many changes in Stiletto. With Mike Butler and Stevie Stiletto and Ray and then Neil and
Sammy Berlin.
Thank you. And Lauren and Frankie and Mike Butler. Too many to name. Can't keep up with all this changes. But that was great times at 730 Club, and that we would. I remember we played with Apostle, Matt Harding, and the bass guitarist. I just forgot his freaking name. But they were freaking great. They built like basically Kiss Alive 2 stage set at the Armory, and Leather Nun, you know, Wade and Jim Means and Jimmy Evans and Jerry Brewer and John Gokenhauer. And Jerry Brewer was in Retribution.
What about
for a hot minute?
Jack?
Huh?
Jack on drums.
Jack Grego. Yeah, he went on to went to University of Florida off of a golf scholarship, which is kind of crazy. Very smart guy, and got in a band called Four Squirrels. F-O-U-R, Squirrels. And when I was out in California, we went and saw him, and I think it was after that, or it was before that, that they got in a bad car wreck, and their singer and guitarist got killed.
Oh no.
And they had to, because they were a signed band, so they were traveling everywhere. And they said, make everybody wear seatbelts, but Jack was the only one that didn't wear a seatbelt, and he was saved.
Wow. That's crazy.
So don't follow the law, children.
When it's your time to go, it's your time to go. All right, so moving right along, let's see. We got who were the friends that came out to your shows, and who did you go to shows with? Like shout out your fans.
It was with the ROTW guys. It was me and Colin Bones Robertson and Jap and Woody Rosenbeck and Mike Seals, and Mike Fox, and Chad Hester, and Chris Powers, and Keith Day, and I know I'm forgetting people. I'm going blank
Rudy.
now. Yeah, all the West Side guys. Jeff Mullis, Pat Mullis, Jack Grego, Billy Hughes. All those guys were all my good friends, which I still...
What about girls? Besides me.
Yeah, Brenda and Vera and
We can come back.
Dean and Dallas Maddox and all the guys from leagues. I went to Ed White, Wesley and Wally Michaels. I wish I would have.
It's okay. Like, we can follow this up with, like, you know, you can text me stuff and I can add it to the page.
Post and King, Knights of Columbus. All the guys from the beach, Fish and Parnell and Sarge and Pat Lawley and Norman Duchesne and Curtis Leggett, Joey Vogel, Darren Washburn. We were at 730 Club one time after the show's outside in the parking lot, that dirt parking lot, drinking, and Joey Vogel said, "Watch this." And he climbs a fence, runs across the expressway, and runs over, climbs up the pole to the big billboard. And it was back then, if we all remember, it was WQIK, the hit kicker. And there on the billboard was a giant boot, and it was kicking. And it had the light on it, and it kept kicking back and forth. And he climbed that damn thing and got up there and was yelling and screaming at us, you know, look at me, look at me, look. And he pulled the plug, and the lights went off, and the boot quit kicking, and we all, you know, jumped for joy, and he come back, and we thought that was, you know, monumental, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, God, so many girls. There was lots of them. Geez, I just forgot her name. She had blonde hair and lived in Atlanta. And
it'll come back, but like, tell some more Joey Vogel stories or people that aren't with us anymore.
Just hell-raising. I forgot Tim McIntyre was always there, and then Buck, and then Frank Bago. Just parties and parties, mostly. Lots of hell-raising and moshing, and Joey Vogel, I remember at the Armory on the slick floor, skateboarding and slamming into people while we were trying to mosh. He was out there trying to skateboard and had some Rector knee pads on there, you know, so he wouldn't get too hurt. But it was some great times.
How'd you find out about parties?
Well, Chad Hester was a little bit older. I'm 59. I think he was, at this point, I think he's like 62. And so back then, we didn't have cell phones, and it was just by word of mouth. And people would just call, and I had a looked like an accordion, a thing with everybody's number written on it. And every Friday, Saturday evening, probably about 4 or 5 o'clock, we would all call each other from Arlington, Orange Park, the beaches, and tell where the parties were, and just show up, because all you needed to know is just one person.
Yeah.
And you could party. And there was always kegs, and I actually went this past Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago. I went to a keg party, and I said I hadn't been to a keg party in 40 freaking years, and I said that was a staple back in the 80s. You know, if you didn't have a keg, we were pretty pissed, and you know, and one keg wasn't enough for all us alkies back then. You know.
Yeah.
And lots of good times, lots of fights, lots of great parties, destroying people's houses, having hunch punch in the bathroom, in the tub, and Dallas Maddox would always go in there and piss in the hunch punch. Like, don't drink the hunch punch. It's like, you just destroyed it, that's all we have. Is all of our alcohol is in there, and you pissed in it. Thanks a lot. So there was some.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and don't pass out at any party, because you're going to get written on. I remember sleeping under coffee tables to try to shield myself to get a little bit of sleep, so you wouldn't wake up like Paul Weed.
Yeah.
I remember there was a party and out at the beach, and he got written all over, and we went surfing the next morning. But we went to Crystal before we went surfing, and nobody told him that he was covered.
Where'd you go surfing?
On 20th Street. Back in the 80s, instead of going to the poles for low tide, we would go to 20th Street, because that's where all ROTW, me and Jap and Bill Bernardo, and Chris Bernardo, and Mike Fox and
R.I.P.
Woody, and everybody would surf 20th Street. Bruce Murray and Joe Hout and some of the younger guys would, Ray Penman-Tail, we would go there and surf. There wasn't as much. Peyton Anderson and Lori Rigdon was my girlfriend back then, and Elisa DeLulo and Heidi Davenport used to come if she wasn't going to go to Anastasia because she was a Middleburg girl, and a bunch of the Orange Park guys would come too, or we would go to Anastasia, and that's how I met a bunch of the Orange Park guys and go, party with them and all that. But
Plus on Sunday you had to go to Orange Park to get booze.
oh yeah, those were some. I got some. Some stories I can't tell about that.
Okay.
No.
Well, hey, speaking of stories you can't tell, well, I don't know. Do you got any stories for Half Bridge? Because Half Bridge was like a main hangout for me.
Say that again now?
Half Bridge, under Roosevelt Bridge.
Oh, we would go to me and Dean and Dallas and Jerry Lowe and Louis Ortega and all those guys in Bernardo. We would, if the party got busted up, we go to a lot of IDS, LSS, all those parties. We'd have to go to the thrift store and get suits because they wouldn't let you in the suits. And remember, Louise Stediford, her parents had a party, and they had a giant tent with sawgrass floors and heaters, and said you had to wear a suit. So me and Dean and Dallas went to the thrift stores and bought suits. And it was just a mishmash of shit that didn't even go. But we got there, because all we cared about was the beer and the chicks. And so we got there, and there was a black guy dressed in all white with white gloves, and he was greeting us as we came in, and that was some freaking great times. But if the parties got busted up, we would go to Betty's Circle or Seminole Park or Stockton Park, and under any bridge. That was good times. We didn't have to be 21.
What about Fishware Park?
Fishware Park, there you go. I remember one time we were in Betty's Circle. There must have been 20 of us out there partying, and Steve Rhodes, Eric, and Adam Hartman were there. And all of a sudden the cops show up, and my car was the furthest away with me, Dean, and Dallas. And the cops came up to us, and there was giant, probably 10-foot by 20-foot azalea bushes that we used to discard our beer bottles and beer cans in every weekend, basically. And the cop goes, you're either going to go to jail, or you're going to get on your hands and knees and pick up all these beer bottles and beer cans. So we were in there for probably 30 minutes cleaning, getting all of them out. And he was, you missed one, you missed one, go back in there and get it. And we weren't going to jail, but
I was like, I was saying, you might went to jail and did that.
yeah, he could have given us all DUIs and all that, but we were just 18, 20-year-old kids.
Yeah.
But great times back then.
Definitely. Let's see. Okay, so what magazines did you read, or how did you find out about new music?
Mostly by going to WAGs and or reading Maximum Rock and Roll. That had a lot of stuff in there, not just hardcore punk and thrash, but new metal and all that, because at that point you had DRI kind of crossing over with their album Crossover, more thrash, more metal. Agnostic with the Cause for Alarm, their second album, Corrosion, some of my favorite bands. And reading Sarah McGill's flyers, little booklets that she would make. I miss her a lot, and she really put her heart, like Brenda has, into this movement of old people now, geriatric people now. But they were the front runners of trying to get a little movement here in Jacksonville.
Do you have any of Sarah's stuff?
I do.
I would love to have that.
And I have the folio that has Ray Ray. It says when he wasn't dead, that everybody thought he was dead. I have that.
That's cool.
And I have some old flyers.
Yeah, so just you don't have to give me the originals. Just take photos and send them to me.
Right.
And I'll post them up on the site.
And I want to say Celery's in RTW, Steve Roberts, and there's more, and I just completely
it's okay. We're just remembering what we can at this point, right? for anybody who cares. And that's why it's great to have like more than one. Like we can, this is yours specific one, but we can do another one where you bring a friend, and when you have two or more punks, it helps you like ping your memory and you can
What was all about
fill in the gaps of the story.
the whole music and the friendship. I gained so many great lifelong friends through the music, the skating, the surfing, the drinking. The drinking went with everything, and it was everything, because I'm going to be drinking, I'm going to be listening to that music, I'm going to be surfing, I'm going to be listening to that music before and after to get me pumped up to go surfing and skateboard. Surfing Pritchard Road, that's not there anymore, unfortunately. That was lots of great drunk times, and me and Paul Weed and Jap driving all over the Bush Drive and finding little concrete ditches that we would clean with brooms and spray paint all over them, ROTW, and thank you, sir. And
Thank you.
it was not just it was a way of life, and a way to coming together and meeting new people from all over Jacksonville. That's something we shared in common. The music, the skating, the surfing, and there was a few hot chicks who liked it.
Oh yeah. And if you had a certain look, it meant something,
Oh yeah.
It like wasn't just like a fashion for the day. You got persecuted if you looked a certain way.
Oh yeah. I didn't want to shave my head, but then I finally shaved my head, and I get kicked out of assault.
Ah!
But
and you never shaved it again.
I lost two girlfriends, two hot chicks that liked me, that wanted to date me, and I shaved my head. They didn't have anything to do with me after that. So I had to wait till it grew back out. That was almost the last time I got a haircut. But I'm sorry, what was the question?
So we're gonna move on to we've kind of been doing it along the way, but 14 to share a memory of a punk friend that's crossed over. So if that doesn't come to mind, we can do
okay. Frank Bago. I have a couple stories about him. He was in several bands. Stink Finger with Paul Weed, and trying to think who else was in that band, but he was mostly in TJ Hookers with Reed Jensen and my lifelong friend David Buchanan and TJ McInerney, and Frank was a showman. He's like Ray, and there'll never be another Frank Bago. And of course Patty was there throughout all this too. And I remember partying over a few years ago over at my friend's house, and we're partying pretty hard in the middle of the day. Drinking and doing other illicit things, and Frank comes over, and it's about 150 degrees outside, and he comes over in black leather pants and ripped up shirt, and his hair is platinum blonde. He just did it, and he had the Sid Vicious going that he always was known for. And I come up to shake his hand, and he takes my hand and puts it right on right here, and so we started cracking up, and I go, "What you been up to?" And he said, Madonna was on her Blonde Ambition tour. He goes, "I'm on my Blonde Ambition tour," and that's when he had to put my hand on his sack, and funny as hell, and he just always made me laugh, and he said he's been listening to a lot of Sadie. I said, "Who the hell is Sadie?" And it was Sade, and he said he's been listening to her so he could, get his chops up singing. And, he didn't give a shit about nothing. And I remember him being in a contest and dropping in and hit the other side. And he, instead of, doing a trick a couple times back and forth, he tried the trick immediately, and he said, "Fuck it. Fuck contest. I'm out of here," and just slung his skateboard out into the audience and walked off and just started drinking. And, he had like 5 minutes to do all his maneuvers, but he just said, "Fuck it, I don't give a fuck." And that was he lived and died by that motto, And I could go lots and lots of stories, and he was something else.
Well, as you remember them along the way, you can just record them on your phone and send them in.
And when when Paul Weed and Patty, his sister, got married at the Omni, I guess this was probably 87 or 88. We all went, of course, and Frank and I was in a suit and tie, and me and Mark Sane Wilson, if you know him, were in the exact same suit that we got from DJ's at Orange Park Mall. And I still have it because it still fits. Frank shows up in leather pants, a leather jacket, no shirt, and a dog collar, and his hair freshly dyed bluish black. And his parents, he grew up right there on Hedrick, right behind Monty's and all that. And it had the thing after the reception at their house, and it was good time. And I just thought that was, some of the relatives were going, "What now?" But that was Frank, and those are just a couple that come to mind. Right offhand.
All right, so talk about how you promoted shows back then. What like who did the flyers?
Just by flyer, and I remember I would go to FJC and pass out flyers, and go to Ed White. If I was still there, going to school, I would pass them out. Of course, go to the go somewhere where there was a Xerox machine, and I guess I'm showing my age by the word Xerox machine, huh? And print them up, and we would put them all over the school, and on phone, telephone poles, and we would go surfing and at the poles or wherever, and put them up on the trees or wherever, and just call people in word of mouth. And we Billy Hughes was really good making the flyers, and he couldn't spell really well, but spelled words. But it was great, and you were, the flyers at first they were just kind of vanilla, and like here's a party, and a cake party, $5 or whatever. But then they started, incorporating funny stuff and little pictures, people had cut out, and good stuff back then, and that's how, just word of mouth, and like I said, putting out flyers.
Yeah, and then you'd staple them around, right? And then
everywhere, and shellac them different places with the shellac glue.
Yeah, I was at the skill center, and I did some graphics for Brutal Assault, and some made some cartoons.
Yeah. I remember Billy made one and says, it's a fucking party at the Armory," and we had songs like Beaver Cleaver's a homo, and then he would put pictures of Beaver Cleaver, and Jerry's a drunk, and we would just kind of roast our friends on there. And
what happened to Jerry Lowe?
He just works on boats a lot,
so he's
at
still
the
around?
marina and all that.
He's still around. Who else is still
Deborah
around?
Johnson, he married Deborah Johnson. They're still together. So all my friends mostly are Woody. Woody is very, I don't know what to say.
Isolationist. And so
yes.
Can you get him to participate in this?
No.
Do you have his number?
No, me and Bones were surfing last summer, and we talked to him a couple times in St. Aug, and we said we could come and by. I said, okay. And we get there and knock on his door, and he won't answer it. We can hear the music. His car, the hood was still warm, so he knew he was there, and he wouldn't come to the door. Woody's always been very aloof, and lots of stories about him. He said he was going to get dreadlocks in 5 minutes. I'm like, what? So he put a beanie on his head and spun it around for about 5 minutes. And you could say it was loosely dreadlocks. It was more like knots. Fuck knots. And then we went to the me, Thomas Hager, John Lauper, and Mike Bathurst that I grew up with all my life, went to an art show and Woody walked out in nothing but his Converses, butt naked, and he had the big rat linkage, and the women were freaking, and then one time at the polls, he pulled his pants down, took a dump 5 inches, and sucked it back up his foot.
Ew.
You might want to delete that.
No, that's the best part. And guess what, Woody? If you don't participate, we're just going to tell all your stories for you.
Robert Frederick Rosenbeck III. And,
That's what's up. So you're going to need
lots
to...
of
you're gonna
Set
need
the
to-
record straight, Woody.
We're going to need you to set the record straight. That's what's up.
Did lots of powder. Good times doing lots of powder back in the day.
Oh, my goodness.
So all those guys participated, and we had so much fun and laughing. And Craig Fales, he says Russ never sleeps because they're, I'm trying to catch up with him. Craig Fales is 65, I think. Woody's 66, and Celery's 65, and Celery's banging out.
Okay, so how can we get an ROTW?
We try to do
meetup?
reunions and stuff. We did one about 2 years ago at Uncle Charlie's Pizza right there on Lane Avenue.
Nobody told me.
It was Mike Fox said, "Hey, do y'all want to get together?" And about 20 of us got together. And Chris Cusimano, he was a staple of all that back then.
All right, I'll get Chris to do it then.
And so Mike Fox and Chris and Joel Timmons and Eric Kilpatrick, Steve Soroki, Nigel Gregg, Eric Bowman, of course Jeff Mullis, and all these people I've known all my life, and went to those guys. Grew up within 2 blocks away from each other. Went to every school from Hyde Grove all the way to Ed White and Lake Shore back in the day. And went out to California with them, and a couple of years of Troy Denson, and and then the guys from Ringworm came out there and hung out, and Chachi, and Mike Williams, and I just forgot the drummer's name. I just went blank. Huh? Thank you, Danny Neerman, and Tony Pratt was in it for a little bit, and now I'm starting to remember stuff.
Yeah.
I'm all over.
Now
Sorry
you're
about
warmed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so just my one question about Woody and his poop and sucking it back up. That means that you guys were watching that.
Well, the Poles parking lot. It was a party before and after. Back in the '80s, everybody at the Poles knew each other, and from the Arlington guys to the Keith Garrett and Richard Bunzo, Derek Geisman. He used to come to 730 Club and all that. Those guys. And everybody knew each other very closely, and we surfed together all the friggin' time. Sean Pope and Eric Pope from Northside, and of course all the West Side guys. And before we would go surfing, everybody's doing one hits in the parking lot, getting ready, and then we would go surfing, and then come back and party and just act crazy and do some idiotic shit. And I remember I came back and I had a beige Pinto, 1977 Pinto was my first car. And a couple of the guys, I left the door unlocked, and they put a bunch of palm fronds in my car, and then picked up my car and turned it sideways. And I couldn't leave until the people on either side of me left. But lots of drinking, lots of partying, and and then one time, we would put dog poop underneath people's handles of their door, rub it handles of the door of their car. But Woody was, doing all kind of stuff, doing the helicopter with his wiener, and he would just pull his pants down and poop and then suck it up and say something real funny, and everybody would just crack up. You know, you didn't know he was going to do this stuff, but he was almost like Mike Tyson. It was a train wreck that you had to watch because you didn't know what he was going to do next, but you wanted to see it because it was going to be something funny that you were going to remember for a long time, you know.
Yes, exactly. So, speaking of Darren Washburn, you mentioned Darren Washburn. Rob's been trying to get him to participate. Can you get him to participate?
Yeah. I saw him not too long ago, and he gave me a hug. He goes, "My God, you've never changed." And he said, "You're the best looking chick I've ever seen up from the west side." And you know, I like to wear bell bottoms and leather and leopard skin pants still. And he always compliments me on all the clothes I wear. So yeah, it's a look, and I've moved more to the heavy metal, you know, with the long hair. And even though I never got tattoos, and you know, and I've had nightmares about them, but I'll never get them. I've gone this long, and people that don't know me well think I'm covered. Like at work and stuff, they think I'm covered. And when I tell them I don't have any, they think that's very bizarre for everybody I've been hanging out with and all this. I know it is kind of bizarre, but I don't know. I just...
I waited later in life to get mine, but my thing with tattoos is usually when I have time, I don't have money, and when I have money, I don't have time.
Right.
Although I've been getting some good ones from Trey out at Fantasy Tattoo.
There you go.
So then, okay, I guess that's the last shout out, is talk about your favorite local punk bands now, or any bands that you're digging.
They're still the same. My life never changes. Agnostic Front, DRI, Corrosion Conformity, Danzig, you know, Misfits, Danzig. So I was raised on Elvis and Tom Jones and Ray Conniff. But so I do love anybody who can sing like Elvis, like I love the Smiths and all that. But those are the agnostic, that to me, Agnostic and DRI and Corrosion are my favorite. It's kind of hard to...
So that's on your playlist
Sex
right
Pistols,
now.
I love the Sex Pistols too. And I'm just drawing
What's on your playlist right now?
Everything. I'm a huge Styx fan. Kiss. I saw Kiss December 12th, 1976, and that changed my life. I said, that's it. That's what I want to do. And me and Jeff Mullis and Pat Mullis, my cousin, went and saw him, and we started playing, asking our parents for instruments, and we got them for Christmas. Everybody, you know, I wanted to be Gene Simmons, so I got bass, and Pat Mullis loved Ace, and Jeff loved Peter Criss, and so we all got the instruments, and we didn't have YouTube back then, so we had to pick up the needle and pick up the needle and pick up the needle and learn like that. That's what punk was a better or an easier road, because you didn't have to be that great of a musician, you know, at the start, and then, you know, after playing them more, you could be better. But yeah, those are my favorite bands right off the top of my head for the punk hardcore. Oh, I'm sorry, Dead Kennedys. Lots of compilations that me and Dean Maddox used to listen to. Band called Die Cruising, Raw Power, that we saw at the 730 Club. Screams from the Gutter album, which is friggin' monumental. Italian hardcore.
Yeah.
And those guys friggin' killed it. And yeah, Dead Kennedys with Jello, the Fresh Fruit, and the Plastic Surgery Disaster. And then when I was out in California, I got In God We Trust, and what else was after that?
Any shows that stick out from that, like where they were like epic, that happened in Jacksonville, like at the Milk Bar or Metropolis?
Yeah, Prong. Opened up for Limp Bizkit at Milk Bar when I was with Device, and then when I was in Retribution, we had the place on Liberty, and it was a nice facility. We built a giant stage, and we had the guy Gar Samuelson, who used to play in Slayer or Megadeth, and we opened up for his band. But there was a band called 10 Foot Shindig that opened up for us when I was in Retribution, and the guys were really cool, and we were partying afterwards. And the singer comes up to Sean Abrams, my guitarist at the time, and said, "Hey man, I really like your guitar playing, but I want to do a side project." And he goes, "Yeah, what's that?" He goes, "I'm going to take heavy metal and rap music and put them together." And Sean's like, "That's the most
Rap
idiotic
metal.
thing I've ever heard in my life." And he goes, "Nah, dude." He goes, "No, man, you'd be great for it." And he goes, "Yeah." And he said, he's already got the name. He goes, "Yeah, what's the name?" He goes, "Limp Bizkit." And this was Fred Durst. And he goes, "That's the worst name I've ever heard in my friggin' life." He goes, "That will never work. So give it to Fred." That didn't deter him, because he got Rob Waters, and he wrote $3 Bill. Yeah, Rob did. You know.
Yeah.
Later they had some problems, and Rob had to sue him to get the royalties from him. And so Rob was a great musician. Gone too soon. He could play anything, any type of genre. Real good dude, and a great AC guy too.
Cool. So yeah, talk about practice rooms. You know, where do you practice?
Brutal Assault, we practiced at my parents' house, right there 2 blocks away from Ed White High School, and we would practice until the cops came. And then my parents got sick of the cops coming, and so we started playing at Billy Hughes' parents' house, right there behind the Dreamette. And we knew we would smoke weed, of course, and then we knew when his dad came home, because we would be playing, and Billy would be cussing, and Jack would be playing, and all of a sudden, because we had everything one extension cord to the house, and when his dad came home, he would pull the cord, and we would play, clack, 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 and it would just stop, you know?
Yeah.
And practice is over. And and he would come in there, "Billy, I don't know, playing that shit."
Yeah. All right.
And then, of course, 7:30 Club. And
But wait, there was another practice room. There was
the convent with go heavy metal with
Leather Nun.
Leather Nun. And there was a lot of cool parties there. That was a great time. The chicks were there more than they were the hardcore punk. And
Well, it was a little more safe and a little less shady.
yeah. Well, the guys look like the girls. The girls look like the girl.
But like, there was another practice room for Brutal Assault that was back
on
over
Emerson?
off
Was it on
of
Emerson?
Edgewood, back in, or I'm
That
sorry,
must
off
have
the
been-
lane, after Lane.
That must have been after me, so I can't remember that. I
Yeah.
might have gone over there, but I know that we went into a lot of storage facilities and
Yeah.
different bands and whatnot.
That's what I'm thinking about.
And
Storage
that-
facilities.
it was just smoking and drinking and
A lot of like
maybe
broken
some
down
sex
warehouses.
here and there.
Definitely. Well, let's see. I think that's gonna wrap for today.
All right.
That was awesome. Thank
I'm
you
sorry
for
I
sharing.
was all over the.
No, it's cool. This was a great. I mean, it's been 57 minutes of awesomeness.
There
So
you go. I appreciate it.
I think it'll be good. I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you
I
for
would be
this
remiss
episode
if I
of
didn't say
JaxPunx.
anything about Ann
And,
Knowles. I've
talk to
known
you
her
soon.
forever. I don't even know how I met her. She's already just like Brenda. They were my friend for 20 years, right when I first met them. And I've known Ann for a long time and seen her at multiple shows. And she was the Gothic Queen of Riverside. And I remember her playing cello at Monty's with Ray and Stevie Stiletto. And she was a great friend. And she would come over for late night parties and stay up late at night talking about music and dancing at my house to Sisters of Mercy and Bauhaus and Joy Division and some Sex Pistols mixed in there. And I miss her, and she was smoking hot. And I kissed her a few times here and there. And just good times with all the parties and the Club 5 and the Riverside staple, 5 Point staple, and I still can't believe it.
Yeah, she's sorely missed. And what I was just
Little geisha
mentioning
girl.
is that she was one of my front row friends, meaning that I go to as many shows as I can and I'm down front as much as I can, supporting, and she was one of my up front friends just like you are. And I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right, thank you.